We're about to dig into a video that I recorded a while back, but I never actually got around to actually posting. And I basically just did a case study and a breakdown on how I managed to scale my client from zero to $1.4 million per month in cash collected in only 7 months working together. So, look, I'm not saying by watching this video you're going to be able to scale your offer to $1.4 million in just 7 months. Let's keep it real. That's a very unusual result, right? But I have managed to scale many offers past $1 million per month. So there's definitely a science behind this. And in this case study, in this breakdown, I want to just crunch down some of the things that you can actually go and extract and pull from the video and apply into your business right now to yield better results than you're currently getting for yourself at the moment, right? So very powerful video. I wish somebody made a video like this a couple years ago when I first started doing this stuff. I'll be way ahead of where I currently am right now. But I'm happy I can make it, share this stuff with you guys, and happy that I actually got around to posting it because yeah, just when you're busy actually operating, actually doing these things, you try to just keep on doing it, but you don't often talk about it so much, right? But I'm trying to document more of what I'm actually doing, so I wanted to just share this with you. So hopefully you'll find it beneficial, and I'm happy that I go around to actually posting it, right? And if you find this video beneficial and helpful, and you actually want help scaling your marketing, scaling your sales, and driving more revenue in your business, then just reach out to me. Send me a DM on Instagram. It's just Melek Sterling on Instagram, or there might be like a link below where you can maybe book a call or something like that. And yeah, we can chop it up, and if it's a good fit, would love to help you scale up. So here's the step-by-step breakdown. So this client had great potential, but was stuck due to one major bottleneck of them having a lack of clarity on their offer when they actually came to us, right? So when they actually came to, I think this is actually an understatement. When they came to us, all the founder had was a really good idea. He had some good skills and he had a really good piece of software, but this offer wasn't actually packaged up into something that was actually, sellable yet, right? There was nothing to actually sell. So let's kind of put it together and make it the offer way more appealing for people, and obviously just get the structure right so people actually wanted to purchase this, right? That's why we started at like literally $0. And just to give you a bit of context on what the client actually did without digging into all the intricate little details, it was essentially a investment opportunity where people could put in X amount of money, and depending on how much they put in, they would get X amount back in monthly gains, right? To kind of like sum it up, like a business investment opportunity. So that was essentially it, but it just wasn't packaged and it wasn't ready to actually be sold. So step one was all about optimizing the offer, and this was key. So a bit of context, right? So in that first in the first month, we only did $3,000 in revenue. So we went from $3,000 in month one to $1.4 million in month seven. And the biggest driver for this, without a shadow of a doubt, was optimizing the actual offer. This is key, right? If the offer's not right, it doesn't matter what you do on the marketing front, doesn't matter what you do on the sales front, if it's just not packaged correctly, right? And that first month for us is all about figuring out the best way to actually package this into an enticing way that would want people to actually want to move forward with it, right? So in order for us to do that, we stripped it down to its core elements. We just stripped down the offer, stripped it, and all we left behind was needed to get a client the actual result, right? So we stripped it down, left what behind was needed to get the client the result, the promised result from A to Z, and then we turn everything else into bonuses to increase perceived value and urgency, right? And this was key because the founder gave so much stuff that he wanted to offer to the clients, and then we was offering that to the clients, and we just served everything on a platter, and then people wasn't really respecting it, right? The perceived value was extremely low, even though it was offering so much up front. So we had to repackage things and optimize the offer to make it more enticing. I'll give you like an example of this as well. So let's say, for example, you have a coaching business, and a key component of your coaching business is the fact that you have the course, and then the other key component is you do coaching calls, right? Let's say you do coaching calls twice per week. So there's a low perceived value way to present that, and then there's a high perceived value way to present that, right? So the low perceived value way to present that is saying, okay, this is our course. We help you go from zero to $10,000 per month in, let's say, 60 days. And what we also do is help coach you through the modules, right? So you have the module, which is great, but I also will sit down with you, walk you through things, coach you to answer all of your questions to make sure you get the most out of this. Low value, you see? But the high value way to offer that would be to say, okay, you're going to get the course that's going to take you from $0 to $10,000 per month after 60 days. But as an additional bonus for clients who are looking to move forward within this next month, I'm also offering additional one-on-one coaching sessions, right? So just for a bit of context, I usually charge about $2,000 per hour for my time. And right now for this incentive, I'm having it. So I'm going to be giving 2 hours of my time per week to anyone who moves forward within the next 30 days, right? And I'm going to be committing to that for the next 12 weeks. So that's just, you're pretty much getting like $4,000 worth of value per week. And if we times that by 12 weeks, you're getting $48,000 of additional value that other people just aren't going to get, right? And the only reason I'm doing this until the end of the month is because we're about to turn on our paid ads. And after we turn on our paid ads, I'm going to be flooded with clients and I'm not going to be able to commit to this, even though I'd love to offer this to every single person who we onboard, right? So something just like that, right? So again, what was more, what was the better way? Which way was the better way of packaging it, right? The first way or the second way? The second way, you added it as a bonus. It wasn't part of the core offer. Not only that, you explained the actual value of it, gave it like a dollar amount, and then to take it a step further, it was time sensitive, right? It was time sensitive with a reason behind why it was time sensitive. So that's just an example, and that would spur people to want to move forward way quicker to actually get that bonus. And we did this in many different ways with this offer to really increase that perceived value. And if you guys want to implement this into your business, the one thing I recommend is to make sure that you're ethical with it. So don't like strip away the coaching. Don't say you're not going to offer this. Don't say that the coaching is going to be a bonus and then you still do the coaching, because you're just going to lose trust of your clients and your market. So make sure that you go back to what I said before, right? You strip everything away from the offer and then you keep only what is essential to make the transformation from A to Z. That's the core offer. Everything else that's not essential, you want to use that as an amplifier to spur people to want to move forward sooner and add it on as like a bonus to the actual program, right? So all of those additional things that aren't actually necessary, like they're amplifiers, they're add-ons, take it away from the core offer and then add it in as strategic bonuses to just package the offer up in a way more appealing way, right? And it changed the whole game. If we never did this in the multiple ways we did it, we would have never been able to take this offer from zero to $1.4 million in 7 months, right? After we figured this out, things really clicked, and our top performing closer was doing $250,000 per month in cash collected. So optimizing the offer is absolutely everything, and perception is key, right? And a perfect example of this, Rory Sullivan, he's the vice chairman of Ogilvy Marketing. He has a perfect example for this. So he was speaking about this company where the elevator was going extremely slow in the building, and all the people that worked in this building were getting extremely frustrated and were pushing and protesting to make the elevator go quicker. And the company got under a lot of pressure, and they're like, okay, we have to make the elevator go quicker. And they're trying to figure out ways to do it. And they're looking at it as like, wow, this is going to cost like, so much money to make these elevators go quicker. This is really going to hurt, right? And that's because they was looking at it from the physical or like the technical lens, And then one intelligent guy came along and he said, okay, how about we don't look at this through the technical or the physical lens, and we change the way we're looking at this. How about we try to solve the problem through the psychological lens instead of the technical or the physical lens? Everyone's like, what do you mean? And he said, okay, well, what's the true issue here? The issue isn't the fact that the elevator isn't going fast enough. Yeah, we can make it go like 10 seconds quicker, but the true issue is the perceived wait, right? People don't like the perceived time in which they're waiting for the elevator to go from A to Z. So what we can do instead, how about we just add mirrors in the elevator? So when there's a mirror in the elevator, people can check their little pimple, they can check their outfit to make sure they're looking good, and then the perceived wait from going from A to Z in the elevator is going to get shortened, and that way we can save thousands of dollars by just changing the perception of it, right? So what they did, they put like $100 mirrors in the elevator, save like thousands of dollars. People stop complaining because it still solved the problem, right?
So I really applaud you guys to, when you're looking at your offer, don't always try to add more things on, or try to always solve things technically or physically. Just look at it from like the psychological lens, and then ask yourself, how can we actually make this better, or solve the issue in a way in which we can use, psychology and perception instead, right? So the elevator example from Rory Sullivan is like brilliant, and it really just stares this point home, right? So really key that you optimize your offer correctly, and perception is key for that. So just to summarize what we did in that first step, we simplified the core offer to focus on results. We used the bonuses to create urgency and shorten the sales cycle. And then we turned all of the supporting elements into time-sensitive bonuses to increase the perceived value and get people to want to move forward much quicker. And the result of that was that our close rate went through the roof. Remember, we did like $3,000 in that first month. And then by about month 3, our top performer was doing $250,000 per month in cash collected. So this changed the game, and we wouldn't be in this moment right now going through the next steps if it wasn't for that, right? So I can really go on for hours about this, but I want to move on, right? So optimizing your offer is key. And then step 2 was building a high performance sales team, right? So next we focused on the team. So one closer was outperforming the rest because, lo and behold, he was following the process, right? And he was just outperforming everyone. So we used this insight to coach the team way more effectively. So I actually spoke with my sales manager, and I said to him, like, what is going on? This closer's absolutely killing it. He's doing like $250,000 every single month. Like, what's going on with the other guys? I see you bringing on people, and then you're cutting them in like 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, right? Like, what's going on, right? And he's like, Melik, I swear I'm coaching the guys. Like, I'm putting in the work. It's just that they're just not at the level. And I was like, come on, man, I'm not buying that. We have access to so many talented reps. Like, what's really going on? And in all fairness, my sales manager was like phenomenal. He was a closer, and then we gave him the promotion to sales manager. So it was his first time doing this, and I decided just to kind of shadow him a little bit more in his coaching calls, so I could actually find out what the issue was. So I started to shadow him, and then the issue became so clear, right? So the issue was that on his coaching calls of all of the closers, the coaching calls was all about him. The coaching calls was his time to shine. It was his time to show everyone just how knowledgeable he was about sales, how great he was when it came to psychology. And it wasn't actually about the closer. So it was like 70% him talking, saying you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And it was just 30% feedback from the actual closers. He wasn't asking the closer, like, why did you actually say that? Like, I want to let you understand like the reasoning behind that. He wasn't asking those types of questions. And most importantly, the big issue was that he was giving the closer too many things to work on all at one time. And human beings, right, we can't fix multiple issues simultaneously and improve multiple things all at one time. You have to pick one thing and then you work on that, right? So he was saying to the closer, you have to improve your discovery, right? I want you to use this specific objection handling technique here, and I want you to say this word for word here, and I want you to change your tonality and like go really slow pace when it comes to revealing the price. And when you say this, say it with a lot of energy. And then the closer was like, what the hell? Like, all of this, what is all of this? I have a call in like 10 minutes. Like, where do I even begin? I have a call in 10 minutes, man. Like, what do I do with all of this? You know? And even though he was like very knowledgeable and great at sales and understands the sales process really well, his advice wasn't really practical, right? So whenever I do sales coaching, and like I'm very critical when it comes to sales, right? But even so, whenever I'm reviewing a call or coaching a closer, I bite my lip, and I'll see so much stuff that's going wrong, and I'll bite my lip. I'll give the closer the look, like, oh my God. I don't really give him the look, but I bite my lip and I won't say anything about the things that aren't relevant, right? And what I mean by that is that I'm looking at all the different variables, and I'm just searching for what I believe to be the biggest bottleneck. I'm searching for the one thing that if I can get that closer to improve, is going to unleash the highest yield, the highest returns, and his actual close rate is going to improve his performance by the most. I'm looking for the one thing, right? All the little things, I don't even mention it. I don't even want that to seep into his subconscious mind, because that's going to take energy away from his conscious mind and his ability to focus on the biggest thing, the biggest needle mover that's going to drive the biggest results. So I leave so much stuff out, but I take note of every single issue, every single area of improvement. But then I start at the top. Okay, what's the biggest a needle mover, right? Is it going to be his discovery? If I can get him to my theory is that if I can get him to, for example, my theory is if I can get him to extract more from the prospect during the discovery, that one thing is going to yield the biggest returns. If that's my theory, that's my hypothesis, then I'm only going to focus on that. Then I'm going to go down the list, tick that off, tick this off, then I'm going all the way down. But my sales manager was just trying to fix everything at one time. And if you try to fix everything at one time, you fix nothing, right? So I relayed that back to my sales manager. He understood. It was like, oh, that makes sense. Even when I was a closer and then I had so much stuff to work on, it was too much, right? Yeah, it made sense for him, right? And then that improved his coaching abilities drastically. And then after that, team really improved, right? Team really, really improved. We were able to get people to get onto that same page, and the performance went up by a lot. So like I said, right, we identified the top performers and we studied their habits. So another thing was that the top performers, they followed the script to the letter, and they was doing like 70% listening and only like 30% of the actual talking, right? And like I said, we focus on coaching to remove the bottlenecks one at a time. And we did that through just continuous role play, right? So it's not just like you say it. It's like, no, your coaching calls are just going to be that until it's fixed. Every single coaching call, we're going to work on the way you are doing your discovery, and we're just going to practice every single day. It's going to be so freaking boring, and I don't freaking care, and we're going to improve your ability to be able to dig deeper during that discovery phase. And we're going to do that every single day, and you're going to keep on saying it over and over and over again until that becomes ingrained in your brain. And that really works, right? So it was continuous role playing to help work through those issues until it just becomes second nature, you know? That's really the key. And but we had an issue, right? So the big thing we saw was that the top performers were following the process, right? The script, right? So we wanted to get everyone to follow the script, but I was having issues getting everyone to adhere to following the script, right? So what we decided to do was publicly praise adherence to the script to reinforce good behavior, right? And the reason why it's so important to have everyone following the script, because what you want is a predictable, replicatable selling machine, right? And the way I think of it, it's like a football play, right? If you have a football play and if you have the whole team trying to follow it, but one person on the team tries to overly improvise the play, you have an issue. Because you don't know, if the play doesn't work, you don't know what was the issue. Was it the strategy? So in terms of strategy, was it the actual play in the sales perspective of things? Was it the actual script, or was it the execution? So was it in the football game example, was it the player's physical accolades, or in the sales sense, was it his tonality when he delivered what he was meant to deliver, right? So you don't know if it's strategy or execution, if everyone's doing different things, but if everyone's on the same page, you know that the strategy either works or it doesn't work, and then you know the issue is strategy or execution, right? So this was like really important. We had to get everyone to follow the script. And then after you do that, you have a predictable machine that you can plug anyone into, right? So what we decided to do was publicly praise adherence to the script to reinforce good behavior. So what we would do, and what I would do, like I would go crazy. Whenever I saw like a really good call from a closer, like I'll go insane. I'll take out my phone and I'll make like a video saying, Daniel, that was like the most incredible call. Like the way you opened it up, your discovery, like you're an expert, like you're top tier, top talent. Like I haven't seen a call like that in weeks, in months. I'm literally at my desk right now and I'm just, there's adrenaline just shooting through my vein because I'm so excited. Like, well done, my man. And then what I'll do, I'll post that into the actual team channel. I'll tag the entire team, and I'll also put a link for the call. And then everyone's going crazy over the closer, right? And what's happening here? He's getting that dopamine hit, right, for following the correct behavior, right? So he's feeling like amazing. He's getting attention from all the leaders, his closers, his peers are all giving him, respect as well, right? So he feels amazing. And as human beings, we're always going to chase that feeling again and again and again. We're always going to chase that dopamine here. So that just reinforces the positive behavior that you want to put on the team, right? And you can try to motivate people through punishment, but it just doesn't work. If you can motivate them through like good feelings and positivity and praise, it really does work well, right? And this helped a ton, and we managed to get everyone following the script, and this was a game changer. So at this point, remember, was bringing guys on, and we had to get some guys off of the calendar for like 2 to 4 weeks because they couldn't get it right? And it was because of the fact of certain coaching issues, and also the fact that they wasn't really following the script, right? But then after we had everyone following the script, we fixed all of the coaching issues. Revenue per closer skyrocketed to $300,000 per month for the top performers, right? So again, now we have a predictable, replicatable selling machine where you could, in theory, I don't recommend doing this, but in theory, you could put a C player in there, and because it's replicatable, because it's predictable, the C player can even print cash. Like, I don't recommend bringing C players into your organization, but I think you're in a good spot when you can plug anyone in there and they can sell it because the script and the process is just so bulletproof. Again, always go for A players. Like, I'm not even kidding. A players are like 15 times more effective. They have like 15 times more output. Not even over exaggerating. Like, I have the data to back this up. Like a player can do like produce 15 times more than a C player, or even more than that. So I really recommend always going for A players, but you understand the concept, right? Like, if a C player can do it, then imagine what an A player could do, right? And this really changed the game after we really got the team performing at a high level across the board, and it wasn't just the one guy collecting all of the cash. Everyone was collecting, right? And then after that, we had step 3, which was leveraging social proof, which was massive, right? So we also leaned heavily into social proof by collecting more testimonials. We built trusted prospects and shortened the sales cycle, because you guys have to understand, right now, we are in the trust recession. People aren't trusting people as much anymore, right? And even though we had some testimonials, it just wasn't enough. We needed more, right? And that's what we really wanted to get. And think about it. If you wanted to, for example, go and stay in an Airbnb, and let's say one Airbnb had 3 5-star reviews, right? But all 5-star, but there's only 3 of them. And another Airbnb had 250 reviews, but the average rating was like 4.6. Well, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the Airbnb of the 4.6 rating, because more people have gone through the process. So you're more likely to have success going through that process. You're more likely to like it as well, right? But if only 3 people left the review, even if it's all 5-star, you'll be thinking, all of those people kind of look the same. They don't really look like me. They don't really sound like me. There's not a lot of variation in there. There's only 3 of them. I could be the 4th one, and it can go different for me. You have all these questions, right? So we just needed way more social proof to really build that trust on the calls, right? Because at this time, our biggest objection was still trust, because we was running cold ads at this time, right? Like cold Facebook and Instagram and TikTok ads. So we really needed a way to build more trust. And we actually had a call with Alex Hormozi before we took on this client. And he said, like, go for people like the best brands, go for the people who have like the brand element. But we still decided to take this client on because we saw so much potential there and it was worth it. But he was totally right. Like, brand is everything. And we had a little bit of resistance because this client didn't have that brand and they didn't have that presence, right? So we had to fix that. So we built that brand with our client. So what we decided to do, we actually incentivized prospects to leave reviews in 3 different formats, right? Video, written, and interviews. And you read that correctly. We incentivize our prospects, right? So we also incentivize our clients, but we focus on the prospects, and this worked 2-folds, right? So we incentivize our prospects to leave a positive review by offering them like a discount. So it's like, okay, so just for example, right? So program's normally $20,000 per month. Mr. Prospect, if we're going to give you $2,000 off the program, but we only ask for one thing, right? So it's one thing, but in 3 different ways. If you join the program, all we want is just an honest review of your experience, right? If you could just write us a Trustpilot review, that'd be brilliant. And an honest review, video review of how you felt about the entire program. And if you can let our founder just interview and ask you a couple of questions about your experience after your second month, if you can do all of that, we'd really appreciate it. We'd even give you like a $2,000 discount if you're willing to do that. And that incentive is only available for people until the end of this month, because we just want to really get more testimonials and get the word out there a lot more, right? And this works tremendously well, right? So this works 2-fold, right? So number 1, you increase your close rate on the initial call because you're obviously giving like incentive. It's time sensitive. There's like that bonus element that people just love and their mouths water for. That's number 1. But number 2, you're also improving your close rate on the call because you're seeding into the prospect's mind that if I actually join this program, they're projecting out in the future that I'm actually going to take this action and leave a review. So by me actually doing this, they're already projecting out in the future that I'm going to have the positive outcome that I came to this call for, right? So you're projecting projecting into the future that the positive outcome that they actually want to have is definitely going to happen, and you're so confident about that because no one brings up reviews if they're not confident that the client's going to see like a positive transformation, right? So it's like, wow, you're transferring so much conviction upon your prospect without having to do anything crazy with your tonality, without having to make a crazy promise. You're transferring that conviction just in your certainty that at the end of the 2 months, you're going to leave a review. And I'm not telling you to leave a positive one. I just want your honest experience. So that kind of infers that I know that your honest experience is going to be a good one, right? Because I want it so much. I'm giving you a discount for it. So it works really well, right? From a psychological standpoint, right? And that helped. And also really important. So during this time as well, we had like a lot of Trustpilot reviews, but people were saying, yeah, I see the Trustpilot reviews, I see the Google reviews, but anyone can fake that, right? So we really wanted to make sure we had it in the video and the interview format too, because I want to look at it from like an evolutionary psychology lens, right? So human beings evolved over hundreds and thousands of years to be extremely good bullshit detectors, right? And we had to be because the world wasn't such an accommodating and safe place, right? So people, they can read facial cues and facial expressions really well. Like if someone is like extremely angry or extremely dangerous, you can see it in their face and you don't mess with that person because thousands of years ago, you messed with the wrong person, your life would have ended because no one's protecting you, right? We don't have like the law enforcement that we have right now, right? So people can see if people are lying, if people are happy, if people are truthful, if people are sad, if people are jubilant, right? People can see all of these things through like the facial cues, right? If you're smiling from your eyes or you're smiling from your mouth, right? People can see all these different things. So video and interviews are like extremely important because this just allows people to see people's facial expressions. People can even get intimate on these types of interviews and really say, like, when I say intimate, I mean like give intimate details of how their transformation really changed their lives, right? So all of these things really help, right? So if you're currently getting a lot of Google reviews or a lot of Trustpilot reviews, I really applaud you to get more video reviews from your clients. It really does help, right? And also, another thing we did, which really changed the game, we hosted what we call a client appreciation webinar, right? And this really helped. And the goal of this was to source testimonials and strengthen our relationships with the clients, right? So what we did, we sent out a blast to all of our clients, and it was essentially saying that, hey, we're launching this, we're doing this webinar just to say thank you to every single one of you. We really appreciate you, and every single person that shows up to this webinar, we're going to be giving you 2 months free of the actual service. All you have to do is just show up, and if you do show up, there's going to be like a secret bonus as well for all of the people on that call, right? So it's like, okay, everyone's pumped up, the webinar's going on, we're going to get like 2 months free, so the show rates are really high. There's like a bonus as well going on, a secret bonus, so people are like really excited to see what's going on here. And that's how we got a lot of people on the call, and hundreds of people all showed up, right? And this was like really powerful. So it was basically the founder saying thank you to everyone. He gave them, everyone who showed up, he gave them the 2 months free. And then after he made a small ask, right? Because if you give something like that, it's okay to give an ask. So all he did was ask that, hey, if you guys are like happy with this at all, I ask is that you just unmute yourself and we have like a little back and forth conversation where I can just ask you some questions about, how you felt this experience has gone for you so far, right? And anyone who's willing to do that, you're going to qualify as well for the secret bonus that we've been holding all this time, right? So everyone's already super pumped because they just got like a massive discount. Clients are seeing great results as well, so they're happy to say that, give that back and forth. And there's that secret bonus that they're waiting for as well, right? So it was really cool. So like hundreds of people unmuted themselves. We're spending like not hundreds of people, but like I think like 50 people, a lot of people, and we're spending like 2 to 5 minutes on each person, and then moving on to the next and the next and the next and the next. And you see what we're doing here, right? We just cut out, but we're back now. So as I was saying before I cut out, yeah, we're sourcing testimonial after testimonial after testimonial, right? In one just fell swoop, right? In one go. And this is awesome. So we have all of these testimonials, and what did we do with them? We used them for like our reactivation campaign. So all of the people that were on the fence, we sent these testimonials out to them, got them back on calls, converted and closed them, right? Like, this also boosted our show rates as well. So we actually started to seed all of these testimonials and plant them into our new booking flows, right? to show social proof before the actual call that they can actually have that dream transformation. And some of the objections that people were mentioning on sales calls were the same objections that people mentioned in the testimonial video as to why they were hesitant to even get set. So we even used that to pre-handle objections before the actual sales call. So people showed up for the call because their objection was handled, and they also converted as well because somebody else verbalized the same doubts that they had before getting set, right? So this worked tremendously well. We really use these testimonials a lot, and our show rates went up by like 26% after we started to utilize all of these testimonials in our workflows and in our marketing. And our close rate also went through the roof as well, because it was also using these testimonials not only just in the marketing, which helped the close rate, but would even show it to people on live calls as well. And that objection that I told you guys about before that it was having about, okay, Trustpilot, Google reviews, anyone can kind of fake it, I'm not too sure about that. That was gone. Like, we just had undoubtable proof, right? So remember, going back to the Airbnb example, right? It's like the Airbnb that has 250 reviews, even if it's a 4.6, that's the sheer mass, the sheer volume makes people feel comfortable that by them investing, them taking that route, it's probably going to have a positive outcome for them, right? But there's only 3 people saying good things and it's all written. It's like, not really too sure about that, right? So this worked tremendously well, right? Oh, and before I move on, the bonus, right? So that bonus that we had for people who actually were willing to unmute themselves, we gave it to them. That bonus was essentially, so the founder, what he did, he created a new program, and what he did, he gave everyone like a 30-day free trial to it for all of the people that unmuted themselves, right? So we gave them all a 30-day free trial, and you know what we did next, right? We followed up 30 days later, asked them how it was going. The results on that program was really good as well, so we cross-sold that program. So this webinar became ultra profitable. So it increased our show rates dramatically because we had all of that social proof to use in our automations and in our marketing. It increased our show rate because people trusted us a lot more, which made it way easier to convert deals. And on top of that, we also cross-sold an additional service on that call as well, right? But obviously we didn't sell it on the actual call, like a free trial, and then we cross-sold them like 30 days later. So it's like putting the medicine into the doggy treat, right? It's like you don't really realize it until like afterwards, or you know what I mean, right? You don't like notice it on the spot, you know. So it worked really well, and then. Like I said before, we share those testimonials in email automations and things like that, which built credibility and in our marketing. And then our show rates boosted and our close rates also boosted as well, which was fantastic, right? So just to really summarize all of that up, right? So what actually happened, the result. So that took us to, and just for a little bit of context, we went from like 800K per month to $1.4 million per month after this point here, the leveraging of social proof. So social proof is everything. It wasn't even like we went from 1 million to 1.4. Like, no, like we went from 800K to $1.4 million. Like the next month, right? So things exploded at this point because it's monumental growth, right? Show rates are going through the roof, so we're having more conversations, close rates going up. We're getting more people to like cross-sell into different services as well. So things really exploded at this point after leveraging more of the social proof, you know? So so by combining all these elements, we scaled the client's revenue to $1.4 million per month. And here's what that looked like. Here's what it looked like, right? So $1.4 million per month in revenue. We increased show rates by 26%, increased close rates by 22%, and then we boosted the team productivity, and the revenue per closer was at $300K per month, right? So again, really solid at this point. And just some of the key takeaways that I want to mention here. So here are the biggest takeaways from this experience that you can apply to your business today. So here's the key lessons. So number 1, perception is everything, right? Package bonuses and incentives effectively and tie to urgency. So going back to the elevator example, right? It's not about just adding more and more things on and trying to fix things through the technical or the physical lens. Like, perception really does matter. If you can solve the issue by just like repackaging what you have, do it, right? do it because it needs to be done. We would have never been able to scale this offer up, get multiple closes on it, get it to $1.4 million per month if we didn't optimize the perception of the actual offer. Like the actual ingredients of the offer just didn't change. Like the ingredients are all the same, right? But just because you have all of these awesome ingredients, it doesn't mean that you can make the best gourmet meal out of it, right? It's like the ability of the chef to put their ingredients in place with a certain quantities and in a certain amounts and do things the right way to make the food taste delicious is what makes the food taste delicious, right? It's like how you combine the ingredients, right? It's not just about the deliverables, it's how you combine the deliverables and how you combine the different parts of your offer to actually make it tasty and appealing to your prospects, right? So again, look at your offer, look at the way you're packaging it, look at the way you're presenting it, can literally make you millions more than you're currently making right now if you get that right, right? Hormozi made a whole book on it as well. So your offer is important, right? And then after that, you want to make sure you're coaching your sales team effectively. So adherence to the script is important. Like every single person, like I said, needs to be on that same wavelength, right? So you can see if it's strategy or if it's execution that needs to be tweaked. And at that point, you have a replicatable, predictable selling machine that you can bring anyone into and they can start printing cash off of, right? So make sure they're following the script. Positive feedback works really well. So in our situation, we use positive feedback in terms of like adulation and praise, but then you can also like reward people financially for following the process, right? So you can reward for the outcome, but rewarding for the process is even more impactful, right? So you can pay your closers like $100, $200 if they follow the process, right? You follow the script, you get like $100 every single time you do that. They make more money per month. And the fact that they're being incentivized now to follow the process, you know the outcome is going to come as a default, right? So always try to incentivize for the process wherever you can, because you know that if the process is followed, you're going to get the result that you actually want to get, right? So always try to incentivize for that. You can use like small financial bonuses. We use positive feedback and it works really well for us on this offer. And then also discretion is key, right? So again, like this is like what I do. Like I break down sales calls. So for me, it's I see so much wrong with like so many sales calls, right? And I'm never satisfied by like any call I really see. So I still have to like bite my tongue and like not mention every single point. I have to just look at all of the different variables, pick the one thing that's going to be the true needle mover if I can get that closer to actually fix. And then we knock that off the list through consistent role playing to the point where it's just rammed into his mind and he's bored of hearing my voice. And bored of hearing himself and his own voice role play the same thing over and over again, right? So we tick that first thing off, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, right? One at a time. Don't overwhelm your guys with so much information. It's too much for them. And then also social proof trumps all. So acquiring more testimonials, social proof in different formats as well. So remember, evolutionary psychology, right? You want it in the video format. You want people to see the facial expression. You want to see they're smiling from their mouth or their eyes, their pupils are dilating when they're saying certain things, right? All of those things, it's like, you can't fake that. You can feel that. You know, that's that heart-to-heart connection that Trustpilot reviews and Google reviews just don't do, right? So get videos, get interviews, really will change the game for you, right? And reward your prospects as well for leaving incentives, right? For leaving positive reviews. So give them a small little discount. It's going to improve your close rate in the moment, and then it's also going to improve your close rate longer term because they're going to leave positive reviews, which you can use to close more deals, right? And then also, we didn't mention this here, but you also want to actually reward your clients as well for referrals as well. So again, you want to make sure you're doing that. And that's pretty much it, guys. So that's how we did it. That's how we scaled our client from $0 to $1.4 million a month in 7 months. We have tons of different case studies, and this one was impactful and helpful for you. Let me know. I can make more videos like this. I just wanted to focus on the 3 sticking points that really stuck into my mind when it came to this offer. There's obviously a lot of other stuff as well, but hopefully this helped you out. And if you're a business owner looking to scale your offer to $1 million per month, then reach out to us if you need help with your sales, right? And if we have the room to accommodate you and it's a good fit, we'll love to have that conversation and potentially start working with you.